We have a moderator, a super moderator, and I'll be calling her up. When it's time, you know what to do. Adebola Williams, also known as AWZ, is pioneering brand storytelling as a managerial role in the startup space. I love that. She is currently the brand storyteller at Money, and she's building a community of brand storytellers ready to take on the global market. Ladies, Adebola Williams! You're welcome. This is for you, ma. No, that's yours. Yes. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Now, say hi like you mean it. Hi. I hope you've been having fun, you've been having a good time. I have, even though I sat at the back, I've had a wonderful time. I feel so proud to be doing this. This is the first time I'm moderating a new panel. And it's only happening at a women platform. Thank you for believing in me, She Codes Africa. Before we go into my session, I just wanted to say hi to somebody sitting near you, especially you introverts. Talk to somebody, get their name, get their Instagram account, follow them on Twitter, say something. Yeah, good. I have to show everybody everywhere I go that I'm an extrovert and we are taking over the world. We do not apologize for it though. All right, I'm going to get right into it. Before I go, I want to say thank you to the Shiko team for having me. This is a very crucial conversation that we are having. And in my notes, when I got invited to moderate this panel, one of the things that I realized that this conversation is not a witch hunt, right? We are not dragging anybody to this town square and burning them alive. This conversation is so important. We are girding ourselves with the truth of what is happening. And it's such an honor to be doing this with amazing, amazing women. Please welcome with me to the panel. We are discussing sexism and sexual harassment, how to handle and call out gender-based discrimination and harassment in the tech industry. And the person I'll be calling is Elizabeth Okaome. She's the founder of Empower Her Community. Do better! Thank you so much. Keep clapping, she gets to see. Come on. All right, next I'm going to be calling Chika Olocha. She's the Chief People Officer at Patricia. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't murder your name. Make some noise! Yeah, keep clapping till she gets to, that's the system. Keep clapping till they get to their seats. They deserve it. Come on, they are doing amazing work. Next, I'll be calling my favorite Gen Z millennial human. I'll be calling Ngozi Chukwu. She's a writer at Big Herbal Media. A round of applause. Come on. Keep clapping. Yeah. And finally, I will be calling Chazagom Anisielbo. She's a talent manager associate at Big Herbal Media. A round of applause, please. All right. Thank you, guys. So before we go into the core of this chat, excuse me, are they gonna go? Okay. Right. So every time someone drops a gem that makes sense or says something that gets to you, it's okay to clap and show excitement. You know, that's what this is about, giving women the flowers that they deserve. So clap for people, clap for them. You know what I'm talking about, clap. It's not easy. Right, so before we get into it, can we take a minute to talk about how important this conversation is across broad? So I'm going to start with you, Ngozi. Just in 1 minute, tell us how crucial this conversation is in the tech space today.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to just say that it's the first time I'm speaking to so many people at once. So I'm very nervous, so bear with me. This is a very, very crucial conversation because, I want to ask, do you guys know, can anybody tell me who the first programmer in the world is? That's a woman, you know, right? Right? What? Isn't it a woman? Yes, but currently this space is dominated by men. And it's almost as though they deem women as people who are unable to perform in positions that actually matter, right? That's why it's very important. Like, we have to, like, there's a need to level the playing ground for all sexes, right? Especially here in Africa, where the ecosystem is burgeoning, is actually growing really, really big, and there's no better time, to have this talk. So yeah, that's why I think it's very, very important. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Elizabeth.
All right. Okay, so basically, I know that we have so many women here currently that are facing this. So, I mean, it makes like so much sense to talk about it today.
Thank you. Awesome. Check it.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everybody. Again, I just want to thank She Codes Africa for this is my first time as well, and I don't know if I'm nervous, so I want to pee. I don't know. I think when she called my name, I was like, I think I need to pee, but I can't. I think that this conversation is really very important because it's something that we've talked about time and time again, and it feels like nobody listens enough. So even I feel like if nobody listens enough, we'll talk about it all the more until someone listens. So I think that the conversation is super duper important.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hello, everyone. I'm tempted to say this is my first time.
I like it. There's a trend.
Yeah,
There's
but
a
really,
trend.
this is the first time I'm having to be in the midst of so many women in this space. And it's amazing. Like, when I walked in, I was super excited because this is only just the beginning. Like, we're going to do amazing things in this space. So I'm really excited to be here. I agree with the other panelists. I just think if we don't talk about it, who will? Like, we should be the ones talking about it. We cannot wait for people to advocate for us as women because people are not really doing a good job. Every other person is not doing a good job. I don't want to call the other gender, but that was a joke.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So before we get into the discussion, we have a panelist that is supposed to be here, Koromone, KK Koreye. She's the managing editor at Tech About. So she has a video, just a few minutes. Let's listen to what she has to say to us.
Ladies, hello She Code Africa team. Thank you so much for inviting me to give a sort of address, to everyone who is involved in this conference, who's attending this conference. My name is Koromone Koroye. I am Tech About managing editor, but I am a lot of other things apart from that. I just want to talk about where we are as women, as young professional women or older professional women in the industry today, right? When I joined the tech ecosystem in 2016, I did not know anything about financial technology, about technology in Africa. I mean, beyond obviously technology, but I didn't know a lot. And the person who gave me my job was a man. He was a co-founder of the company, and he gave me my first job. As a matter of fact, there were 2 male co-founders, right? But in giving me that job, he put me on the right track. He gave me opportunities. He allowed me to be a part of an industry that was so new and so exciting, right? And it was new in Nigeria, new in Africa, and there were just so many opportunities that existed for us, right? And one thing I told myself after I got my first job was I would do anything that I can to ensure that more women are in this ecosystem. Because the truth is that when I joined tech in 2016, I could count how many women were in that industry. I could count how many female angel investors existed or how many female general partners, managing large funds existed, And it's been 6 years, and not a lot has changed. However, a few things have changed. I don't want this address to be about men versus women or are women better than men. That is not a conversation I will ever have. I want this conversation, this address to be about equity, about us women understanding that we are smart, we are capable, we are intelligent, and even if we don't have the skills, we can do what it takes to get the skills that we need to succeed in this industry. I'm here to talk about us being bold enough to step up, to speak up and say, you know what, it's about time that we see more of us, not just occupying female-centric roles like customer success or marketing or comms or social media. And there's nothing wrong with any of those roles. Again, if you are good at it, if you love to do it, then please do it. But I am saying that women will no longer be relegated to lower positions because we're women. No, it's about time that the ecosystem, especially in Nigeria, especially in Africa, begin to see women as valuable team players, as valuable team members, as people who can occupy top positions: COO, CFO, CIO, CTO. Women are technical, women are smart, women are operational, right? And it's about time that we stop shrinking ourselves and allow others to shrink us.
Awesome. Please, can we? Wow, that was powerful. Did we really listen? Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So I'm going to kick off with Chika. Yes, the reason I'm kicking off with you is because you have non-tech experience. You've worked in the traditional sector, a bank, before you moved to Patricia. So did you experience a culture shock in terms of how women are treated between a traditional bank and the traditional workplace and tech? Was there a difference? If there was a difference, what did you see?
Okay, I'd say no. Maybe because I joined Patricia really early on. We're less than 6 persons. So it wasn't really there. It was just myself and one other lady, and then 4 guys, inclusive of the CEO. So I didn't really face that. But of course, I've worked in a traditional space, so I understand how this goes. So it was a pleasant surprise. But again, my case is not typical because I joined at a very early stage, so no.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to ask Elizabeth. Elizabeth, what has been the major shocking truth you found out about women when they are positioning themselves for high roles and jobs? What has been the most shocking thing that you've discovered in how we position ourselves differently than men?
All right. Okay. All right. So first off, I would love to share my tech journey story.
Okay.
So back then in school in 2016, that was my first year, second semester. There was this wave of tech in my school, Uniben. So then I reached out to a friend who was a friend to a guy that codes so good actually. Then I'm like, hey, what's up, please? I would love to learn how to code. And he tells me coding is not for women, it's for men. Just focus on school and you'll be fine. I mean, I picked that statement and I'm like, you know what? You see this tech thing, I would do it and I would get as many women as possible into tech, yeah. And that was how I birthed my community. But before then, I was volunteering a lot. She Good Africa too, I volunteered here too. That was last year. Yeah. So now, if it was a different lady, if it was somebody that any little thing brings you down, she would never see herself positioning herself for such jobs. I mean, she'd be like, it might be true because really, really, really coding is very, very technical. When I started tech, I started with coding. But at some point, I realized that I was better with community management, so I moved to community management, and I'm doing that currently. But yes, I know that sometimes you can apply for jobs, and they are saying that because you are female, you cannot apply for such job. So there's this lady in my community. She reached out to me and said that she wanted to intern with a company. So I think there were about 2 girls and 4 boys applied for the role. Then they selected the whole boys and left her. Then she said she heard somebody say something about women have mood swings, period pains, pregnancies, and I'm like, does that actually matter? So, and also I've seen situations whereby women in positions, women in power, like you can actually help this woman get this role, but you still feel like a man would do it better. I mean, tech is not a gender thing. Most of the best programmers that we have in the world currently, they are females. Most of the amazing community managers that I've met, they are females. GitHub star is Ruth, she's a female. So I feel like, yes, those talks are there, right? But it is your duty as a woman to actually shade it off and act like, I don't care. You know what, I'm getting this and I'm going to get it. Thank you.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm moving to Chiazagom because this conversation is really important, and I want you to break down what sexism looks like in the workplace. So a lot of us, we weren't brought up to think that some things are sexism. So a comment here, a comment there, constant beating down, mansplaining. We don't understand it. We are learning it on social media. And some of these learnings can be wrong. But because of your role and what you do at Big Cabal, can you just explain to us what sexism is in a way that we can all pinpoint it out ourselves?
Okay. So, first off, I want to just comment on the answers that they both gave. I mean, they just mentioned 2016, and at 2016, I had no idea what I was doing. But, to sexism, I think that, first off, I want to say that it's really it's harder to unlearn than to learn. To be taught something over and over again, it's easy because I feel like when you're being taught something, you get to see it around you. Sometimes we call that algorithm, right? If you talk about, hey, guy, I want to buy glasses. You go on Instagram, the first thing you see is glass. Like, are these people spying on us or are they listening to our conversations, right? And we get to learn that we get to see a lot of things right from when we're growing up, right? A guy touches you somehow or he says, oh, you're my wife. And you're literally very young. Yeah, you just start to laugh or you just say that, he's not a big deal. He's just a guy, he's not being that serious. And you see this thing progressing. People were talking, there was a story that came out about these Yaba people, these Yaba market sellers, right? And I say, my color, come by. Okay, I'm your color, I'm your size. Why are you touching me? It's okay. Right? And come. And the moment you maybe slap them or, sorry, not slap. When you pat their hand, they're like, you don't even find yourself, say as you be. Things like that. It's funny. At that point, you can be very angry. Like, why is this guy misbehaving? But it has entered you. This thing is normal. Like, it's a normal thing. If you go here, but guys suppose they grope you or something. But it's not normal. And it's actually unfair. Like, I'm on my own. Why are you stressing me out? Right? And these are the things. And we see this little life. This is just a market thing, right? But we see these little life instances begin to follow us into the workplace. Hey, I have this stuff to do. Like, I think I can really do this. Just leave it to the guy that knows how to do it best. And you're like, but I know that I can do it. Like, if you give me a chance. In most cases, let's be fair, you know that you're not really that sure if you can do it, but you want somebody to take a chance on you. Like, just give me the chance. I can prove you wrong that I can do this thing, right? So we begin to see that these things are now following us, not just from culture, right? We are talking about the ecosystem or tech industry in Nigeria, but our culture has a lot to play. Right? When you're talking about the ecosystem, it just follows us. And sometimes even, let's talk about like the guys, right? Sometimes they don't even know what they are doing. When they are harassing you, they don't know that it's harassment, actually, because they've been programmed and they've been taught that this thing is normal. For you to tell a girl, hey, girl, things like that, they'll be like, my uncles did it, my older brothers did it, and it's fine for me, as long as at least I no touch them now. This kind of stuff, right? It just follows us. And now the part that we have to play is the part of unlearning all of those things, which is the difficult part. But you have to give yourself time, right? You have to give yourself time, like, to unlearn all of those things that you've learned.
Awesome. Please, a round of applause. Give yourself time to unlearn. Wow. Chika, I'm coming back to you. So this question is, it's a two-sided question. The first one is, who are the people, the stakeholders that should be responsible in a tech startup, in the tech ecosystem, to make women feel at home and not feel, insecure or not safe? That's the first one. Then what policies can we put in the tech ecosystem and then in the different startups to thwart sexism culture?
So people who are responsible, it's everyone. Every single person. If you work in a traditional space or even a tech space where people have to report to the office, you'd notice if you're a very friendly person, can see 5 persons, 3 guys, 2 ladies, or 4 guys, 1 lady. And then you say hi, everybody's shaking the guys. And when he gets the lady, they want to hug you. Why do you want to hug me? I've gone for meetings, official meetings, where sometimes the banks, as far back as 2018, and I'll go with my boss, right? Especially when we started doing integrations. And then in the meeting, everybody's paying attention to him. And sometimes I'm the one with the ideas. I'm the one that understands what we are looking for. I'm the one who has experience from the bank. So I'm the one who is supposed to be pitching this. We want this, right? I know what we want. We might not have a name for it, but I know what we want. And I know how it's supposed to work because I worked at the bank. And then everybody's just, oh, okay. And then they're asking him questions, And then he repeatedly says, oh, you should ask her. Then everybody now goes, oh, and including women. Like you said, right? We have learned these things subconsciously. And I have to constantly say, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm the one you're supposed to ask the question. So, for who is responsible, it's everyone. I understand that responsibility falls more on senior management, of course, HR, right? Because then you're supposed to put policies in place. Even if the HR comes up with policies, the senior management, the CEO, CC level, they're supposed to approve such policies and then maybe the HR enforce it, depending on what works in the environment. But it's everyone. It's not one person. It starts from, it's embedded in culture. And there is no one person who is, the culture carrier in an organization. It's supposed to be everyone. So from the moment you're onboarded, it's supposed to be etched in that this is what sexual harassment is, and it is not acceptable here. So that's the first question. For the second one, a sexual harassment policy. I think that was one of the first policies I came up with when we knew that this was going to work and become a real company, and then we started coming up with policies. And I think the first time, then we just had the manager, the HR, and the CEO. The first thing they said was, Chika, sexual harassment. I'm like, yes. Because they hadn't experienced it, and it was a young firm, far back as 2018, we hadn't experienced anything like that, But it was very important to me because I'm coming from a space where these things exist. Someone wants to reprimand a group of persons, you reprimand everyone else, and then you ask the lady to sit down. Why are you asking me to sit down? Why are you treating me differently from everybody else? So there should be a sexual harassment policy that entails what sexual harassment is. A lot of us think that sexual harassment is when somebody has properly groped you in the office. It's a lot of things. Don't ask me stupid questions about my personal life. Do you even have a boyfriend? That's sexual harassment. I'm serious. I need us to pay attention because if you have not experienced it, or if you might haven't experienced it, but you shrug it off because, it has happened once or twice and you think it's normal. It's not normal. Lewd remarks. The way your body is shaped there, you're not even supposed to be walking. That's sexual. I'm serious. Yeah, people say that. And then it's supposed to be cool. It's not cool. Unsolicited text messages. I know that in a work environment, you could get attracted to the opposite sex. It's normal, right? So I fancy a guy, he fancies me. He says hello. I say, you are looking very sharp today. And then he follows suit. That's mutual, right? But when there is power dynamics or power play, your CEO sends you a message and then says, lovely perfume. Follow me, please. I'm serious. I've worked with a lot of people, so I've seen these things. They're very subtle. And because people who are perpetrators, they have mastered the skill of being very subtle. So they start very small. They see how you take the first one, and then they throw the second one. So it starts with, this your hair is fine. But you can't tell me it's fine without touching it. And then let's go for lunch. You can't, and then you're my work wife.
Work boyfriend.
And then he wants to mentor you. But in mentoring you, you need to be in a chill environment. So let's have lunch. Then movies. Then you have to come to his house. So some of us wait till come to my house before it dawns on us that properly this is sexual harassment. Especially, remember, when there is power dynamics, you're being very careful. Especially because there are not a lot of women in tech space, you tend to appreciate that you are there. So you don't want to mess up your opportunity. So even when, ideally, you would have said, don't send that kind of message to me. You would just say, "Now, wow, the kind of messages he's sending me." Then your friend will say, it's just the two of us here. We have to be careful so that this space that we are just standing, or maybe we are sitting, let them not push us out. So the policy should be in place, and then there should be constant training. If a policy, like a sexual harassment policy is put in place, it should be detailed. Again, what is sexual harassment? What are the laid down procedures for reporting them? And every report should be taken very seriously. Then I need to know as a staff who is in charge. Who am I supposed to report it to? And if I am in charge, what am I supposed to do? All those things, if it is clearly spelled out, and everybody from onboarding point to constant training, say quarterly, everyone already gets the idea. By the time you start screaming to everybody in their face, sexual harassment, everybody is careful. And the victims are more, or people who see it or sense it are more relaxed to talk about it. When we make it norm in the organization, then victims will speak up, and people who are likely to be perpetrators would, step aside. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Chika, please. So we are going to take one more question, and that question is directed to Ngozi. So I'm a storyteller, so my heart is always for media and writing. And I think that storytelling and the media has a lot of role to play in some of these issues. So Ngozi, how can writing and storytelling and the media, how can we use that medium to curb sexism and all these sexual misrepresentations in the workplace?
Okay. All right. So the first thing is, I want to highlight again how important storytelling is. Did you know the Me Too movement that happened in America? That started with somebody talking about how she wished she told somebody Me Too, and before you know, everyone started talking about their experiences, how they were harassed by one person or another due to power dynamics. Now, do you see the magnitude of stories that came out because one person said their story? Yes, storytelling stirs people, to speak up more. It makes people to want to share their experiences. And when people share experiences together, it amplifies their voices. And why is it important to amplify, to have that amplification? There are places where rules are not really usually enforced. We have laws that protect women from harassment in Nigeria. Do you know that? If someone hits you on the road, you have there are actually laws that protect you from, that actually guard your rights as a person. You should not be hit. That should get that person punished. There are laws like that can actually get those guys at the market. You can actually have them arrested. There are laws like that. But in our country, it's not usually enforced. You go to a station and then they actually blame you. Why are you wearing a short skirt? Why are you wearing, why is your boob showing? Do you get? You're a fine girl now. You get? Now, storytelling is important in our society because it stirs up the public court. You hear stories about how some tech CEOs have harassed somebody, in the organization. Now, normally, because of how small the ecosystem is, their friends know about it. They're aware of what happened. Some people could be right, at the party when he put something in her drink and took her home and slept with her. They know what happened, but nobody will speak up. Because what will happen if they speak up? The guy is rich. he has the police in his hands. What will happen? Now, when some women find courage to go and speak to reputable media houses like Tech Cabal, or Weed Tracker, and tell them their stories, and these stories are actually told in ethical ways, you can stir up the public court of justice. You can have people, begin to pound, have you watched this Eniola Holmes movie that came out recently? You know how they're pounding? Now, that pound is amplification. It's very important. Now, that's why, when these stories come out about bad cultures, you see how HR is now scampering to develop policies, for how to go about reporting harassment. Now, storytelling makes people's voices louder and therefore helps people, makes people to now have to want to be accountable. It stirs them to want to be found in the right spot at the right time. That's like one reason why storytelling is very important. Second reason is, as I said, some people don't know what harassment looks like. So now when you tell your stories of how, I want to tell you what harassment is. If a person does anything to you and you feel offended, that's harassment. That is how it's defined. Any action towards you that makes you feel offended is harassment. If a person comes too close to you in the office, he's not touching you at all, he's close to you, and you don't feel comfortable, and you tell him, I don't really like how, how I feel when you do this, and he or she continues, that's harassment. Now, telling stories about how you feel in these situations helps people know what harassment really is, helps to redefine, all these stories, all these ideas that we've had, from our culture, African cultures. Like it actually helps us to redefine these ideas and helps us change our pictures on what harassment really is. And when everybody begins to see that this is actually what is good and what is bad, they have more courage to speak up. And when girls and when abused or harassed people speak up, people have more courage to support them and stand by them because we're aware that this is actually good or this is actually bad. And there are many more ways, but the biggest things that storytelling does is it amplifies voices, it keeps people in check, and also helps to redefine culture.
Awesome. Yeah. Please, can we have a round of applause for our panelists, please? Give it up for everybody. So we will take a few questions now. I don't know if we have maybe just two questions on the crowd. I'm trying to, this light is in my face. Can we get a microphone passed? Do we have anybody from this side? Okay, that's one person. Thank you. Sorry.
Good day, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Rama Abdfatah. So my question goes thus. Concerning dressing as a tech lady, is there actually a dress code, or we should all feel comfortable the way we dress normally to maybe our various working places? So that's just my question. Because now, if you are not dressing like me, you are just dressing like the way others are. We can actually come in a uniform. Okay, this is the way they are. But for others, there's no, I don't know how to say, there's no standard to the dress code of people. So what kind of dressing is acceptable in the tech space for ladies?
Chika, you won't take that. I feel like that's more in your corner.
I don't think you should let anyone decide for you how to dress. I think it's important that we understand that it's your body and you should decide how best a dress looks on you at any point in time. There is no standard to it. Honestly, there is no standard to it. If you want to wear it flowing to the ground, that's you. You want to wear shorts, t-shirt, that doesn't make the person a better tech person, in quotes. Don't let anyone decide for you. There is no standard to it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Chika. We still have one more question there. Please, can we take that question? And then this one. No. Here. She raised her hand up first. Yes. We are still here, so you can, as we are leaving, you can just follow us to ask us questions outside. Sorry, we are against time. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Agatha. My question goes to Chika, actually. Because you're a chief people officer and all, and I'm an HR person as well, so I've seen this happen. There are cases where the abuser, let me use that word, is somebody who is high up there. So now, how do you protect young ladies that are in that position such that they know that they can still get their voices heard, they can still report, maybe like whistleblowing without being victimized? How do you do that in your organization? Thank you.
Okay, we promote a culture of see something, say something. Because most people would rather not say something for the fear of being victimized. So we run surveys every month, anonymous. What do you think about this? What do you think about, have you seen this happening? Have you seen that happening? Again, it reinforces the need for a policy, a very detailed policy that says not just what it is, but how to report it. And then it's important that for every organization, you have a committee that investigates these kind of claims. Because if it falls to the lap of just the HR team or the HR persons, what if the abuser is a HR person? It's possible they tend to protect the person. So we have an ad hoc committee, right? That there's a HR person, of course, and then there are other persons, senior persons in the organization. That way, nobody can escape it, right? You report, it's investigated, and then also we have a therapist. So if you're not comfortable talking or even filling the survey, speak to the therapist takes it up. Thank you.
So this is the last question for this panel, so that they won't send us away. We are past beyond time. This person says, in a situation whereby you find yourself being complimented by your employer in a sexual way, how can you react or handle such situations? And is it right to speak up without a query?
Oh, okay. I think that this is a very hard one. It's very difficult. For me to say that it's not hard is a lie, right? Especially when this person is your CEO and your job is at stake. In cases like this, I think that your safety is your priority. Please, your safety is your priority. In your mind, you can be that, I've not gotten a job in a long time. This job is so much important to me and all of that. But please don't jeopardize your mental health at the stake of your job. Do you know what happens when you end up maybe falling for that harassment, or you end up being raped, or you end up maybe having sex with the person? Okay, let's say if you willingly have sex with the employer, right, just because he's coercing you, do you know you have to live with guilt for the rest of your time in that company? You have to live with shame for the rest of your time in that company. And it's harder to keep shame than to keep your job, do you know? And if you end up becoming raped, do you understand? The emotional trauma that you have to deal with, your future, your job is nothing compared to your sanity. Your job is nothing compared to your safety. And to be honest, I'm not going to tell you that it's easy. It is not. To speak up against somebody that is leading you, it is not easy in any way, shape, manner, or form. But the thing is that you are doing it for your own sanity and you're doing it for yourself. So if that person is maybe making comments, right, complimenting you and stuff like that, just, Ms. Chika was saying something about harassment can be anything, right? To some of us, somebody complimenting your perfume is not a big deal. You won't take it really serious. But some people, when someone compliments your perfume, right, you are like, first of all, that is wrong, right? So that it plays different for everybody. There are some people that, your perfume smells nice, thanks. But when you see that the person is hammering again, where did you buy it? I like the way it just made, the way the thing can be very, you just tell you that, the perfume is seductive. You just be like, uncle, please, just draw the line there and then. And in this, I'm going to say something else, and this doesn't just cut out to men. This doesn't just cut out. It's only men that harass women. Do you understand? Women harass too. Do you understand? So please, in any shape, manner, or form, somebody is making a move on you, both men, both women, your mental health is super, like, you can't emphasize it. You see, if you are being paid 100, for instance, 100K every month, think about, if you give into that, think about how much you get to pay in therapy. Think about how much you get to pay in therapy. You guys know that therapy is not cheap. Is therapy cheap? It's not cheap. Anybody that say, oh, see a therapist, we have very nice communities that offer free therapy sessions. We have on Google, we have a lot of people that offer affordable ones. But if you, like, before all of this came up, therapy is very, very expensive. So if you have like 2 sessions in a month that cover, like, let me say, maybe 30K per session, and you're earning 100K, where do you basically survive on? Do you understand? Please, like, don't joke about it. It can be very difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It is difficult. But please, in cases like that, speak up. Please, I don't like the way you speak to me. I don't like the way you touch me. I don't like the way I feel anytime I'm around you. You know, there's some people that they don't touch you, but when they're around you, you'll be feeling their breath on your body. Like shifts, just move, you know. And if you tend to move, they tend to follow you as well. Like, make sure that you are very clear, like clear cut on whatever it is that you are, and make sure that you're comfortable at all times.
Thank you. Elizabeth wants to round it off. Sorry, guys.
All right. Okay. Now, so this is for women that cannot exactly speak up to their bosses, because most definitely, trust me, there are so many persons that are still scared to even say, please, sir, stop. Right? Yeah. So something happened on Twitter 6 months ago, or thereabouts. Somebody tagged me to something, a tweet. He said he wanted to DM, and I was like, fine. So this person was actually a guy. Then he texted me and said that his female friend is facing something like this at work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, can she please text me? He said she's scared. I'm like, no, she should not be scared. Like, these are things that I want to fight for. Then she texted me. She told me the whole summary. The story was actually very, very terrible. From reducing her salary because she refused to succumb, to giving her more tax, to turning her, like, it was actually so bad. So I was like, okay, the only thing that I can do right now is to try to get this girl a better job. But I was like, how? I don't have connection, nothing. So at that time, a sponsor sponsored my community. I would not mention, because if I mention, some persons here might know her. So I reached out to the founder. I'm like, what's up? See you. See what is happening. He was like, okay, no problem. Then in less than 2 weeks, they took her in. She left the job, and I'm like, wow, thank God. Then while she was leaving, the so-called boss was still threatening her. And I'm like, this girl has left your space already, so what exactly do you want, right? But, I mean, we took it up, actually. So for people that feel like they cannot speak up, organizations like this, SCA, I mean, you could reach out to the founder, community manager, program manager. Trust me, they would listen. They would definitely listen. So please, if you cannot speak up, please reach out to these women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's the end of our panel. Thank